Shemel Shah. How about Shemel Shah? Barakatah Yahweh Shah. Barakatah Yahweh. Barakatah Yahweh. Barakatah Yahweh Shah.
But understand thou for thyself, and seek out the glory for such be thee. For unto you is paradise open. The tree of life is planted. The time to come is prepared. Plenteousness is made ready. A city is builded, and rest is allowed. Yea, perfect goodness and wisdom. The root of evil is sealed up from you. Weakness and the mob is hid from you. And corruption is fled into hell to be forgotten. Sorrows are pent in the immortality. Let my soul bless Yahweh. When Jerusalem shall be built up with sapphires and emeralds and precious, thy walls and towers and battlements with pure gold. And the streets of Jerusalem shall be paved with beryl and carbuncle and stone of Ophir. And all her streets shall say, Hallelujah, praise him. Blessed be Yahweh, which have extolled it forever.
It's about time, man, because I'm ready to go home. I'm ready to get the kingdom. I'm ready to live. I'm ready to breathe fresh. I'm ready to have beautiful, pure women. Okay, not no strawberry harlots on this side. Ready to have children, man, you can vibe with. Okay, be around brothers. Be around the Lord himself. Okay, I'm ready to go and visit places in the galaxy that we didn't know exist. All right, I'm ready to walk on sandy beaches, man, and explore the ocean floors. I'm ready to fly. Okay, I'm ready to eat real food. Okay, I'm ready to drive a chariot, man. All right, I'm ready to minister to the Lord and to be ministered to, man. Okay, I'm ready to worship Yahweh Shai in its full entirety. Okay, I'm ready for it. We're ready, man. I'm ready to see angels and greet angels.
Barakatah Yahweh Shah. Barakatah Yahweh. Barakatah Yahweh. Barakatah Yahweh Shah.
You got talk on.
All right. First and foremost, we like y'all praises and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Rekakadash, and double unto Pastor Edis GMS, and citation to your brother Push Whoever truth and sincere for corners. We GMS Mississippi Camp. I'm gonna let the bros take over. It's on you, bro.
Con. Con, can y'all hear me?
Con, you good, bro?
Okay.
God.
Con. Yeah, so Papa Rogers up, we're gonna get into the night, dealing with Zachariah chapter 2, verses 11, in which that precept has become controversial. It's a lot of confusion, being pushed out, and as the Lord has set, his sincere men, his true prophets, to defend the gospel, we're gonna get into these things, because we're in the time now, all right, as we know, as we get closer to the end, Satan, okay, is going to go hard on the left hand, whether it's through Esau rolling out the new world order, or whether it's through, paid off men, who's all right been paid off to teach confusion. Either way, we know the left hand gonna turn up, so we match that energy and surpass that energy, on the right. All right, so we're gonna bring understanding, to these things, as false doctrine goes forth, edification goes forth at the exact same time, because we serve a just power, and he's all about a righteous balance, So we'll get straight into it. We'll read verse 10 and read into 11, and the main emphasis will be on verse 11, all right, which we'll dissect that scripture, All right, to show that this speaking about Israelites. You know, can you see it on your end, bro?
Come on, it's all good, bro. Let me know you ready.
Yeah, you got it, bro. Started at 10.
Come on, this is the book of Zechariah, chapter 2, starting at verse 10. It says, Sing and rejoice, O daughter of Zion, for lo I come, and I will dwell in the midst of thee, saith the Lord Yahweh. Verse 11. And
Yeah,
many nations.
so so when you go into verse 10, you know, it's speaking, it's addressing Zion, you know, which to Zion in Hebrew, you know, goes into memorial. All right, because the Lord's people, you know, in this time dealing with his elect, they're his memorial. Okay. So the Lord remembers, you know, his people, okay, through the elect. You see? So this is a precept that's commanding, you know, Zion to rejoice. So it's speaking directly to his people. Go ahead. Read verse
Come
10
verse,
again.
come verse 10 again. It says, Sing and rejoice, O daughter of Zion, for lo I come, and I will dwell in the midst of thee, saith the Lord Yahweh.
Go ahead.
Verse 11. And many nations shall be joined to the Lord Yahweh in that day, and shall be my people, and I will dwell in the midst of thee, and thou shalt know that the Lord Yahweh of hosts hath sent me unto thee.
Yeah, so this is where the confusion comes in that, you know, when Zechariah 2 and 11 says, and many nations shall be joined to the Lord in their day, you know, and they use this, all right, to include the other nations into salvation. Okay, but there's no way that you have this one precept that includes all nations, and you have all these other precepts that doesn't include all nations. There will be confusion. Okay, so it has to be a understanding of these nations being Israelites. Okay, so it's, first you said they shall be joined to the Lord in their day. Well, let's go here to the book of Isaiah 14 and 1. So let's read this, bro. Isaiah 14 and 1. Because this says Israel's taunt. You know, you go to Isaiah 14:1, it says Israel taunt. When you go back here to the book of Zechariah, real quick, and then we go back to Isaiah just to show you the you know. So what does it say here? The Most High's favor to Zion. Okay, so letting you know that this is speaking of Israel. All right, this is addressed to Israel. Okay, this is a restoration and rejoicing for Israel. All right, about us being saved, us being delivered. Okay, from these circumstances that we're in now. You know, so let's read Isaiah 14 and 1, Bible stop.
Come, this is the book of Isaiah, chapter 14, verse 1. For the Lord Yahweh will have mercy on Jacob, and will yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land. And the strangers shall be joined with
Mhm.
them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob.
Oh, so going back to cleave or join. So you see this word strangers, is it talking about, you know, actual other nations? No, it's talking about Israelites because you go into this word stranger. All right, let's get this word stranger. Okay, these strangers cleaving, all right, or joining to Israel. Okay, are they actual heathens or they're Israelites? So you go into this word stranger, all right, in the Hebrew, okay, and it's the word gar. All right. And you go into it says what? Sojourner. It says a temporary inhabitant, a newcomer lacking inherited rights. You know, because you will have our people, all right, that wouldn't dwell in the land, okay, and they will come back and they will have to show their registry, okay, and they will be given, all right, land according to, you know, the number of their family. Okay, because there's one thing that Israel always had was an inheritance. You know, when we was in the land, you could leave, you know, and say your grandchildren want to go back into the land. Well, they will prove their registry. They will be considered strangers, all right, but they will prove their registry, okay, goes back to the lineage of one of the tribes, and they will be given inheritance rights. Okay, so these are the strangers. This word gar. Now, when you go to the book of Exodus, chapter 2, all right, dealing with an account with Moses, all right, while he named his son Gershom, all right, and we're going to go into that word Gershom. Okay, now read Exodus 2:21 and 22 Bible shop, bro.
Con, this is the book of Exodus, chapter 2, starting at verse 21. It says, and Moses was
Yep,
content to dwell with the man, and he gave Moses Zipporah, his daughter.
yep,
Verse
yep.
22. She bare, go ahead.
Now you got it.
Con, verse 22. And she bare a son and called his name Gershom, for he said, I have been a stranger in a strange land.
Yeah, so this is Moses, all right, which this is Jethro, okay, Zipporah, which is an Ethiopian, okay, she's an actual heathen. But Moses, which is a Levite, all right, he has a child, all right, a son, okay, by this Ethiopian woman, and he calls the son Gershom, because remember, Moses was separated from his people at the time, okay? He wasn't amongst his people, okay? In Egypt, he was separated, okay? So he called his son Gershom, okay? All right, in the Hebrew, Gershom, Garshom in the Hebrew. And when you go into it, what does it mean? It says a foreigner, okay? Because remember, he said, I have had a son in a strange land. And you go to the root word, which is also the name of the first son of Levi, okay? Firstborn son of Levi. But then what does his name mean? Exile, okay? So foreigners, there was exile, okay? But they're Israelites. You see? Gershon was an Israelite, okay? You know, they had to move because of the famine into Egypt, okay? Then you had, I say Moses, he had a son when he was away from his people, okay? And he called him Gershon, which means foreigner, okay? So these other nations they're speaking of in Zachariah are Israelites dwelling amongst these other nations. And we know we dwell amongst these other nations now due to what? The captivities, man. Okay? Even the captivities going back to the Babylonians, the Medo Persians, the Greeks, okay, the Romans, all those captivities in which our people were constantly being scattered amongst these heathens. And that's why by the time you get to the book of James, chapter 1, all right, in verse 1, all right, read that real quick, bro. James 1 and 1. Can you see? Are you still there, bro?
Con, it's breaking up, bro. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, Con, you said James 1 and 1.
Yeah, it's right there on the screen, bro.
Con, this is James chapter 1, verse 1. It says, James, a servant of the Most High and of the Lord Yahweh Shah HaMashiach, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad, greeting.
To the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad, greeting. Okay, so in the end time, okay, when Israel, you know, is told to rejoice, all right, when Zion is told to rejoice in the Lord, Yahweh Bashim Shai, and many nations shall be joined unto them, those are Israelites that have been scattered, okay, from the time of the Assyrian captivity until this time today, there's been several captivities of our people being exiled and being scattered, you know? So by the time you get to Zechariah, which is end time prophecy about Israel being what? Gathered, being delivered, all right? These many nations being joined, okay, to Zion, these are Israelites that have been scattered, okay? And I want to get one more, and then y'all brothers got it. You know, I just wanted to lay down
Hey, Come.
foundation.
Hey, I want to say this too,
Oh, you
and,
got it,
and
bro. You got it, bro.
and we all gonna look, and
Yep.
and a lot of people gonna look like the other nations too, because we were scattered throughout the nation, and
Yep.
you know how we
Yep.
gonna get down now. So you got someone that look like the other nation, but if the
Yep.
line go back
Yep.
to one of the 12, you Israelite. That's all I had to say, bro.
Come, bro. Yeah, because if I can add, which we'll get to later on, just to add to what you're saying. So if we look like the other nations and we've been there for hundreds of years, you got Israelites that been in these different lands for hundreds of years. They're not gonna look like these other nations, and they're not gonna talk their language, you know. But they're Israelites, just like
Come,
Zaquan is going into. It's an easy concept. Jake. All right. Jake get down. Jake gonna spread their seed. You know,
come,
and Jake is just naturally fruitful. So you're gonna have, you know, our people that scattered amongst these other nations, looking and talking like these other nations, but they're Israelites, man. You know, this has nothing to do with the actual other nation. It's still the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, man.
come.
Hey, Baba Bashar, if you can read that St. John 7:34. You finna say something, Quan?
Oh no, no, no. I'm good, bro. I'm just listening.
Okay.
You got it.
Come. Let's get that St. John 7:34 and 35.
Come, this is the book of St. John, chapter 7, starting at verse 34. It says, Ye shall seek me and shall not find me, and where I am, thither ye cannot come.
So Yahweh
Then,
Shai was speaking on him going back to the spiritual realm because he knew it was about that time for him to be sacrificed. But they didn't understand it. So they was questioning amongst themselves, like, what is he talking about? So this is what they're going to discuss amongst themselves. Go ahead.
verse 35, then said the Jews amongst themselves, Whither will ye go that we shall not find him? Will he go unto the dispersed among the Gentiles and teach the Gentiles?
Okay, so on the surface level, you can say, oh, he's talking about going and teaching the other nation. But he said to disperse among the Gentiles, all right, to teach the Gentiles, which the Israelites of the circumcision, they looked at Jake that was amongst the actual heathen. They looked at them as heathens. Okay, so he said the dispersed, all right. He said the dispersed amongst the Gentiles to teach the Gentiles. So when you go here, um, let's go to the word dispersed. All right, in the Greek, it's the diaspora.
Strong's G1290. Diaspora. Diaspora.
All right, diaspora, and what it says, a scattering, a dispersion of Israelites dispersed among foreign nations. Okay, so they understood that those Israelites that was dispersed amongst those actual Gentiles. Okay, amongst those actual heathens. You see, the circumcision knew that there was Israelites out there. Okay, but they considered them Gentiles because they had been amongst the heathen for generations. Okay, remember it was a war fought for Israelites to keep the law. That's where you get, the Maccabees, the Hasmonean dynasty, the scribes, the Pharisees, the Sadducees. They came from, all right, our people that fought to keep the law. They went to war with the Greeks. And then you had those that was dispersed and went into Hellenized, whether they voluntarily went into uh, 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 Greek culture, okay, or they was forced into it through the threat of death, okay. So you had the Israelites that was in the land, they knew that history because it wasn't nothing but a few generations before them, you know. It was about 5, 6 generations before them. Okay, so they understood their history. That's why he say he gonna go to the dispersed, the diaspora, the Israelites dispersed among the foreign nations, and teach the Gentiles. Okay, so this many nations is just prophecy being fulfilled of Israelite foreigners coming back and being delivered in the last days. You know, the elect amongst the Israelite foreigners, man. You know, that's what that's going into in Zechariah 2 and 11. You know, but that was it, y'all. What y'all got? Amar, you want to go into that? Or y'all, you had some?
Come that also like to that First Corinthians 6 and 19 and
Come. I'm gonna
20.
go back to Zechariah. I'm gonna go back to Zechariah. Let him read that, and then we're gonna segue into what you got, bro. Just to,
Con.
just to refresh your Bible shop. So read it, Zechariah 2 and 11. Then we go to the First Corinthians. Go ahead.
Come, this is the book of Zechariah, chapter 2, verse 11. It says, and many nations shall be joined to the Lord Yahweh in that day, and shall be my people, and I will dwell in the midst of thee, and thou shalt know that the Lord Yahweh of hosts has sent me unto thee.
So we're gonna deal with the concept of and shall be my people, and I will dwell in the midst of thee. You know, so this is what the brother is getting ready to go into. But does the Lord dwell in the midst of? All right, so let's go here. 1 Corinthians 6 and 19. You got it, bro.
Come, this is the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 6, verse 19. What? Know ye not that your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit, which is in you, which ye have of the Most High, and ye are not your own?
Keep
Yeah,
going,
you got
bro.
it, bro.
Okay, comes like verse 20. It says, for ye are bought with a price, therefore glorify the Most High in your body and in your spirit, which are the Most High's.
Right. So the Lord died for particular people, man. Okay. And we was bought with a price. So the Lord went on the cross for a particular nation of people, man, that was gonna be a people of his own. And that's who he's dwelling with, starting with his elect, you know. But if a brother would go to can you go to John for me, bro?
John, what, bro?
John 11 and start at verse 50. Hey, and can you get that the AMP for me? Yeah, the priest of God's putting the AMP, man. It highlights pretty high in some spots.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's just
Yeah, I
gonna
got
kind
it.
of further expound on how the Lord is dealing with a particular nation of people, man. You know,
All right, you can yes, Saint
the
John
brother brought
11.
started
You
out in
started 49.
Zachariah 2 and 11. Gun.
You set sands on the map?
Now you can make your point, bro.
No. I was just saying that you had started how we go into the lesson highlighting Zechariah 2 verse 10 and 11. But you know, then you went into James 1 and 1. It was this pretty much just a recap of you breaking down how the Lord dealing with those particular nation, man. Because James 1 it speaks on the 12 tribes, you know, but that 12 tribe is a nation, and that nation is the nation that the Lord died for, and the Lord the nation that He's dwelling and dealing with. You got it, bro.
Con, this is the
Come
book of
on,
St.
bro.
John, chapter
You
11,
started at
verse.
49.
Con. This is the book of St. John, chapter 11, verse 49. But one of them, is that Caiaphas?
Caiaphas.
The water. But one of them, Caiaphas, who was the high priest that year, the year of Hamashiach's crucifixion, said to them, you know nothing at all. Verse 50. Nor do you understand that it is expedient and politically at
Advantageous.
advantageous at
Advantageous.
advantageous for you that one man die for the people, and that the whole nation shall not perish.
So this is speaking about Yahweh Shai when he went on the cross, man, that he's dying for one nation that would not perish. Okay, one nation. And that nation consists of the 12 tribes of Israel. And it's speaking in a singular form. Okay, you got it, bro.
You want to keep reading, or you want to get something else, bro?
No, keep reading down to 52. That's the primary point I want to get to.
Okay, come. You got it, bro.
Come, verse 51. Now he did not say this simply on his own
Initiative,
the water, but being the high priest that year, he was unknowingly used by the Most High and prophesied that Yahweh Shai was going to die for the nation. And not only for the nation, but also for the purpose of gathering together into one body the children of the Most High, which have been scattered abroad. That's pressure.
And that's the point. Even just not for the nation, with the nation of Israel, you know, those who was of the circumcision that knew they were Israelite, but as well as those who was didn't know they was Israelites or were taking on the customs of other nations, man. Those that were scattered, like the brother had explained when he brought out James 1:1. The 12 tribes was what? That the 12 tribes is a whole is the nation of Israel. And it was prophesied that the Yahweh Shai was going to die for this particular nation, man. So if you go to what is that? Matthew 15 and 24, Baba Gashar, you get that real quick.
come.
Because it's not for all nations, man. All nations cannot be engrafted. Yahweh Shai died for a particular nation, the nation of Israel. You know, and when the brother brought it out in Zachariah 2:11, when it said nations, he expounded on it that those Israelite foreigners, man.
Matthew 15 to 24.
You got it, bro.
I got you. Matthew chapter 15, verse 24. He answered, I was commissioned by the Most High and sent only to the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
So if he only sent to the lost sheep of the house of Israel, and he was prophesied to die for a particular nation, you know, and then again, James 1:1, the 12 tribes. Where can these other nations that these guys trying to pull in? How do they fit? How do they fit? Because once again, if I can get this last one, bro, just to kind of drive it home, 2nd Ezra 6 and 56. Because it's documented, man. And I don't know how you guys come up with this concept of all the other nations can be saved or gonna be able to inherit and share the promise that was given to our forefathers, man. You know, it was the promise was given to Abraham, okay, which Isaac was going to inherit that promise, as well as Jacob and Jacob's descendants, which are the 12 tribes of Israel. But starting with Abraham down to the 12 tribes, that's the nation of Israel. You know, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. This promise is not for Moab or Ammon or Ishmael. None of these, man. It's strictly documented that it's for the nation of Israel. So, bro, you can go ahead, bro. If you just get 54, 55, and 56 in 2nd Ezra chapter 6, and that'll be all I got on it, bro, for a minute.
This is the book of 2nd Ezra. This is the book of 2nd Ezra chapter 6, starting at verse 54. And after these, Adam also, whom thou madest Lord over all thy creatures, of him come we all, and the people also whom thou hast chosen. Verse 55. All this have I spoken before thee, O
So
Lord.
you see right there, Salah, bro.
Go ahead.
Salah, bro. See, in 54, it says that whom thou madest, Lord of all thy creatures, talking about Adam. And then, it specifically say, come we all. Now, come who is all? All nations of people, man. But then he goes to distinctly say, and the people also whom thou hast chosen. Who is this people? There's a particular people that's being spoken of, being chosen right there. You got it, bro.
God, verse 55. All this I have spoken before thee, O Lord, Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai, because thou hast made it the world for our sakes. Verse 56. As for the other people, which also come from Adam,
You got it,
thou
bro.
hast
Keep going.
said, come. Verse 56. As for the other people, which also come from Adam, thou hast said that they are nothing, but be like unto spittle, which has likened the abundance of them unto a drop that falleth from a vessel.
So how can that be explained, saying that other nations are going to be able to be, inherit the promise? Okay, because 54 again, it speaks on how we all come from Adam and the people also whom the Lord chosen. But then in 56 said, as for the other people, who are these other people that the Lord is saying that are nothing but like unto a spittle, okay, in abundance of them unto a drop that falleth out of a vessel? Who are these people? Okay, because the Lord created a people unto himself, a nation of people who are going to inherit the promises, okay, of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and that's with the Lord's elect, okay, in 1/3. But in the kingdom of heaven, the whole nation of Israel are going to be good. They're going to be in their right minds. They're going to be have everlasting life, would no longer die, perish, go off. None of these things, man. But this is only for the chosen, that the Lord had chosen as a nation, again, starting with the elect. So where is it at where these other nations are going to be engrafted into the promise? This is a false made up doctrine, man. And and then you go in Revelation 22nd chapter, the 18th, 19th verse, man, it speaks on those who add and taken away from the scriptures, man. So these guys gonna have a lot of blood in their hands, and they're gonna have to pay for these lies they're telling, man, because they know that the other nations are not gonna be implemented into the promise, but they have sold out, man. And they're gonna have to give an account for that, because scripture said every idle word shall be weighed, man. And these words they are speaking that are false doctrines, they're gonna have to pay for that.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I got, bro.
Come on, bro. Yeah, what you got over there, bro?
All right, come on, bro. Hey, bro. Hey, go back to Baba Kashad. Go back to that Zechariah again, Baba Kashad.
Zachariah 2 and 11.
Come on.
Come on, I got you, bro.
Bro can get both of them, 10 and 11.
Okay, come on, I got you, bro. Oh, so lucky. So this back in the book of Zechariah. Can you see it over there, bro?
Come, real good.
You got it, bro.
Come, this book of Zechariah, chapter 2, starting at verse 10. Sing and rejoice, O daughter of Zion, for lo, I come, and I will dwell in the midst of thee, saith the Lord Yahweh.
You got it.
Verse 11. And many nations shall be joined to the Lord Yahweh in that day, and shall be my people, and I will dwell in the midst of thee, and thou shalt know that the Lord Yahweh of hosts has sent me unto thee.
So going into the Lord's going to be a tabernacle, into Israel. Baba Kashad, get the Revelation 21 and verse 3 and 4, Baba Kashad.
Come on, bro. I got you, bro. You got it for the brother.
God, this is Revelation chapter 21, verse 3. It says, I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, "Behold, the tabernacle of the Most High is with men, and He will dwell with them, and they shall be His people, and the Most High Himself shall be with them and be their power."
Yep. So this is ultimately this is it. This is Israel, whom how about Shem Shah is ultimately gonna dwell with us. You know, we're gonna be reunited and we're gonna become a people to Him, and the nations are gonna know it. You got it.
Gone. Verse 4, it says, "And the Most High shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and shall be no more, and it's like, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away."
Yeah. See that in the form of things, be that uneasy, the things, these captivities, the body, the where this was now rest, and the Lord is really gonna give us rest. You know, so this is only gonna be for the nation of Israel. See, because these other nations, I mean, they have us in their hands, and I mean, according, I mean, because we moved the Lord to wrath. Baba Gashai, go to Ezekiel 37 and 21 down to 28. Just a little read down. And get that in NLT, Baba Gashai.
And then NLT, I got you, bro.
Bro.
So what verse you said 21 start with?
Yeah, start at 21 and read down to 28.
Come. You got it now.
This book of Ezekiel chapter 37, starting at verse 21. "And give them this message from the sovereign Lord Yahweh. I will gather the people of Israel from among the nations. I will bring them home to their own land from the places where they have been scattered. I will unite them into one nation on the mountains of Israel. One king will rule them all. No longer will they be divided into two nations or into two kingdoms."
Yep. They're rejoining from the northern and the southern kingdom. You know, you got it.
Verse 23.
They
will never.
If I can just add real quick, bro, just to add to that, because it said many nations shall be joined unto thee. But then also from this, because you got, like you say, the northern southern kingdom, those two nations being reunited, that's part of our redemption as well. But just real quick, I just want to interject, add to what you're saying. When you go to the promises, all right, read Isaiah 60 and 22, Bible shot.
This book Isaiah chapter 60 verse 22. "The smallest family will become 1,000 people, and the tiniest group will become a mighty nation. At the right time, I, the Lord Yahweh, will make it happen."
Yeah, so when it goes to Abraham and it says, "In thy seed shall the nations be blessed," well, it said each Israelite man, each Israelite family is going to grow like into a mighty nation, so you even have that aspect, what the brothers getting into just made me think of that, so even that aspect, through Abraham shall the nations be blessed, well, each Israelite man, especially beginning with the first fruit, is going to multiply into his own nation, so each Israelite man is going to rejoice, they're going to enjoy the perks of that, glory, that promise of Abraham of the nations being blessed, you know, just to go from that aspect, bro. But yeah, we'll get back to the Ezekiel. It's tough. Would you want to read 23 again, bro?
Yeah, you can read 23, bro. Yeah, and read down to 28.
This is Ezekiel chapter 37. This is Ezekiel chapter 37, verse 23. It says, "I will never, they will never again pollute themselves with their idols and vile images and rebellion. For I will save them from their sinful backsliding. I will cleanse them. Then they will truly be my people, and I will be their power.
Yeah, so this is basically this Lord separating again. Like you can't get all nations out of this. You know, this is he said they will truly be my people, and from their backsliding. So and they will never again pollute themselves with the idols of the nations. For one, you know. So this ain't for these nations, man. This is the Lord unifying us back into Himself, making us one with Him again.
God, verse 24. My servant David will be their king, and they will have only one shepherd. They will obey my regulations and be careful to keep my decrees.
Because again, you know, it's gonna be putting us to obey. You know, we're gonna be made as a scripture goes into. We will not have to teach every man his neighbor to serve to know the Lord. And for all shall know Him. You know, you got it.
God, verse 25. They will live in the land I gave my servant Jacob, the land where their ancestors lived. They and their children and their grandchildren after them will live there forever, generation after generation, and my servant David will be their prince forever.
Because Jacob, I mean, once we put in this land again, death's gonna be taken away from us because we actually gonna be serving Yahweh Shem Yahushua as a whole nation. So therefore, no more sin, no more death, no more captivity. You know, no more going astray, no more backsliding, no more rebellion. You got it.
Come, verse 26. I will make a covenant of peace with them, an everlasting covenant. I will give them their land and increase their numbers, and I will put my temple among them forever. Verse 27.
You want to make a point, bro, on it?
Yeah, man. I mean, like you say, you can't get around it, man. You know, it's an everlasting covenant. So the heathen are not part of this covenant. Nowhere in the Bible does it include the heathen within this covenant, man. That covenant is always attached to a bloodline. So those nations that's going to be joined to Israel are just Israelites coming back, okay? Because it's going to be a global government. It's going to be a global deliverance. You know, it speaks about being delivered from the north and the nations whither they were scattered. Okay, so you're gonna have Israelites because America, see, being the Israelite is a hot thing in America. You know, that's a major topic. You know, what they call Hebrew Israelites. Okay, so you're gonna have Israelites that's been over here, all right, cultivated, being cultivated by the ministry, but then you're gonna have Israelite foreigners, okay, all throughout the world, okay, that's gonna wake up, you see, in these last times, man, and be delivered. So these Israelite foreigners, okay, that's scattered throughout the earth, these are those many nations in Zechariah that's going to be joined to the Lord's people and be His people. Because you can't be a Moabite and now all of a sudden you an Israelite. You know, you can be an Israelite amongst the Moabites, okay, and be delivered and be attached back to those promises and that inheritance is given to a bloodline, okay. So that's what they're speaking of, man. You know, what you got, bro?
Come, verse 27. It says, I will make my home among them. I will be their power, and they will be my people.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 28. And when my temple is among them forever, the nations will know that I am the Lord Yahweh who makes Israel holy.
Yep. Yep. So it's gonna be evident that how about Shemal Shai was with these people all along. These were the children of Israel all along. You know, because at the end of the day, the heathen ain't coming into these nations. They're not getting gathered as far as salvation. It's, you know, they're not getting saved. You know, from the basically the hells that's coming up on the earth. How about Shemal Shai is not gonna change them instantly. You know, as He gonna change His elect. You know, these people they going to captivity. The scripture goes into how they're gonna be gathered. You know, and for one, you know, we know that Esau, of course, and the rest of these nations, scripture say, hey, gather their kings. You know, we're gonna bind them with chains and fetters of iron, man. They not gonna have a part in. They're not gonna have a part in the glory Yahweh Shemel Shai is gonna set Israel on, man. Upon, man. You know, this is only for us. Hey, Baba Kasha got one more just to back this up, Deuteronomy 7:6.
I got you, bro. And then that temple, just to add, you know, it says, and when my temple is among them forever, we're the temple. You know, we are going to be the dwelling for the spirit of Yahweh Bashim Shai. You know, our physical bodies, you know, is going to be the dwelling place of the presence of the Lord, you know, in the earth. And that's only for one nation of people. Okay. So anyone that's, if it say Gentiles or many nations or the Greek or the uncircumcised, all right, and it's talking about them being included within those promises, well, that lets you know it's not talking about actual heathens and Gentiles, those Israelites. Okay, you got it, bro.
Yep. I want to add this because hey, going back into I think Priest Lamar brought out in Second Ezra the 6th how I don't know if he got that precept, but in scripture say, hey, these nations are nothing to him but like a spittle. He'll liken them to a drop that fallen from a vessel. So yeah, hey, these nations they ain't hey, the Lord look at them like they ain't nothing. Like what say the dust for ballot, you know? No. Got it.
Done. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7, verse 6. For you are a holy people who belong to the Lord Yahweh your power. For all the people on the earth, the Lord Yahweh your power has chosen you to be his own special treasure.
Yep. And then the Lord, hey, scripture say, hey, and the Lord said, he is not a God that changes, you know. He the same yesterday, today, and forever. And the Lord ain't choosing another nation after He already chose us, man. You know, if anything, and the Lord just bringing us back.
Come on, bro. Hey, Lamar, did you want to get that Jeremiah? Was it 32? I don't know if you back on. You back on, bro? I thought I put you in.
Jeremiah, Jeremiah 32. You start at verse 37 and read down to 42.
I think we're like 40. Yeah, I think 40, bro. Yeah, you got now you started 37. Jeremiah 32 and 37.
Come on, this is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 32, starting at verse 37. I will certainly bring my people back again from all the countries where I will scatter them in my fury. I will bring them back to this very city and let them live in peace and safety. Verse 38. They will be my people and I will be their
It's talking
power.
about one.
That's talking about the
It's talking
Israelites,
about
man.
one people. I will.
No, see that's talking about the Israelites, man, that was scattered. And a big part of that scattering, or the major part of that scattering, come about during the transatlantic slave trade. You know, because, you know, Esau, the other nations was sending us here and there as gifts, the northern and the southern kingdom. Okay, but the southern kingdom mainly was scattered out, you know, saying around Babylon, man. But it also went abroad with the nation of Israel, other country. That's why when brothers bringing out, you know, you might live amongst Moabites, but you're an Israelite, you know, because the spirit bear witness. And we know Jake had been all over the globe, man, and laying seed in these women of the other nations. So Israelites have been scattered by way of transatlantic slave, and as well as the seed plant in these different countries. You got
And
it, bro.
I want to say this too, and that's why, like, that's why we always, you know, when we teach, It's never about color. It's always color.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about color. And then that's people don't understand. Cause like, oh, y'all talking about only black people. No. When Jimmy teach, we tell you, we went here, our people dwell here, my people dwell there. So everybody like everybody see what's that boy name? Curry. If his son bang a white woman and they have a son, I mean they gonna get lighter, but it still go back to their father. So but everybody want to push y'all talking about color. No, we don't teach color. And your line go back to one of these brothers, 1 to 12. You Israelite. Don't get them hide what color what color you look like. That's what people fail to realize. It's not no color damn thing. It's not color at all. It's all about being an Israelite. If you want it, if you're not, that's it. All right, bro.
Con.
Come,
Is it because is that Genesis 6? I think it's 1 and 2 where it talks about the sons of the Most High saw the daughters of men and that they were fair and they took them as wives, meaning that they had they went into them, and of course Jake had kids with him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Back into it. Say again, bro.
No, you got it, bro.
Back into it. Verse 38. It says, "They will be my people, and I will be their power, and I will give them one heart and one purpose to worship me forever for their own good and for the good of all their descendants. And I will make an everlasting covenant with them. I will never
Keep
stop
going, bro.
and I will make an everlasting covenant with them, and I will never stop doing good for them. I will put a desire in their hearts to worship me, and they will never leave me." Verse 41. "I will find joy doing good for them and will faithfully and wholeheartedly replant them in this land. This is what the Lord Yahweh says, just as I have brought all these calamities
Families.
calamities on them, the water, so I will do all the good I have promised to them."
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, you know, the Lord has made an everlasting covenant with the nation of Israel. Okay. And he has a chosen people. Okay. We went through that in our second area, 6 and 56, as well as pretty much 58, man. You know, it's a certain people that the Lord chose. And the other people, say was unto spittle, even though we all come from Adam. So which people has the Lord chosen to make this everlasting covenant with? It's the nation of Israel, the northern and southern kingdom. Okay. And who went through all these different captivities? The nation of Israel. Okay, that's that evil that the Lord is talking about. He had brought upon us all the things we don't have to go through because of our hard head and stiff neck. But again, he's gonna make good on his promises. The Lord is not a man that he can lie. I think the priest Yum Yum Yah brought that up. So even though we are going through what we are going through and have gone through the things we had to go through, the Lord still remains with the nation of Israel because they are his chosen people. This is who the Lord dwell with, the nation of Israel. That's why the promise was given to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And that hasn't changed. Again, the Lord is not a man that he can lie. So he's gonna rejoice in this. Because the brother read it again in verse 38. They shall be my people and I shall be their power. So it's the chosen people that the Lord has this everlasting covenant he's going to make with them, which is going to be that second covenant, man. When we're delivered into those chariots, receive those new bodies, the law, statutes, and commandments in our minds, in our lives, where we're going to be right, man. Angelic bodies never going off again. And that promise is going to be made whole when the nation of Israel, the 2/3 that be judged and destroyed on this side, come back through the loins of the elect, man. There's nowhere in the scriptures where the other nations are going to be engrafted into the promise. Now, are they going to benefit off of the righteousness of rulership Yeah, the earth is gonna be replenished. It's gonna be refreshed. It's gonna be ruled under righteousness. So they're gonna benefit from the promises, okay, and the righteousness that's gonna flourish in the earth. But they're not gonna be immortal. They're not going to live forever. Okay, they're not gonna be a thriving nation like the nation of Israel. That promise was only for the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And this inheritance is all coming by way of Yahweh Shai. That's all I got, bro.
Come on, bro. Tazmo, you had something before we close that?
Yeah, yeah, I got something, bro. Give me
What you got, bro?
First Corinthians, no, First Chronicles 17, 20, and 21.
Okay, come. First Chronicles chapter 17, 20, and 21.
Yeah.
Okay, you want the KJV or the
Uh
let me
man,
see,
both of them
BRT,
sound
you
good,
want?
man. Yeah, hey, do the NIT. NLT, I mean. That boy thing about the NFL.
Come, you got
This,
Anna.
this book of First Chronicles, chapter 17, starting in verse 20. O Lord Yahweh, there is no one like you. I have never even heard of another power like you.
Hey,
What
that's how
what
look. That's how we supposed to uh be about towards the Lord, man. We supposed to honor and worship Yahweh Bashar no matter what. And like then like in Exodus, the first commandments, thou shalt not have any power before me. So this who we supposed to worship each and every day. No one else, but our people in all the different gods to be worshiping. But that's who we supposed to worship though. Yahweh Bashar, no one else. Go ahead.
come verse 21? What other nation on earth is like thy people Israel?
It says
What
like
other
your people. It said,
Dua, so
yeah.
like it. I'm gonna read over verse 21. It says, what other nation on earth is like your people Israel?
See
What
what who the fuck been to Israel? No one. No one been to Israel. All right. Go ahead.
what other nation, O power, have you redeemed from slavery to be your own people? You have made a great name for yourself when you redeemed your people from Egypt. You performed awesome miracles and drove out the nations that stood in their way.
See, that's beautiful. Cause you just say, um, you made a great name. Cause guess what? Everybody knew about the Lord when he took Israel out of Egypt. Everybody knew all the stuff he done to the Egyptians and how he delivered us from the Egyptians, man. Everybody knew that. So his name was magnified. His name was magnified, man. But we the only people that the Lord chose. And like in Second Ezra 5, he said, "What multitude about the multitude that he chose?" He said, "All the multitude he had chosen one people, and Israel is the people that he chose. He didn't choose no one else. So the rest of the nation can't come to something you weren't invited, you weren't a part of it, you can't get it, and you will never get it. All right, but that's all I got, bros.
Come, bro. I think the point been made. Um, Israel is isolated, from everyone else. Whenever you read the Bible, just say it again. Whenever you read the scriptures and they speak about the Greeks, the Gentiles, the, the uncircumcised, okay, and they speak um them with them being the Lord's people, those are Israelites. Point blank, period. And we can prove it every single time you see the word Greek, Gentile, or heathen or uncircumcised, and it's speaking to them, giving them the same attributes and the same privileges of Israel. That's because they are Israelites. All right. There's nowhere in the Bible, that it speaks to heathens and gives them attributes, okay, and perks and promises of the Israelites, and it's not speaking about Israelites, man. So Lord will, you brothers, all right, and you sisters edified once again. We want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Kakadashi. And double
Sure.
honors unto the apostles and elder GMS, who will teach well, being a great example to his younger brothers, and peace and blessings, salutations, and hopefully, shalom.
Shalom.